Well, hello everybody. So here we are. Now, over time, I've had many people ask me, obviously, this being a predominantly a fish channel, I've had a lot of people ask me about the Grateful Dead over time. So something as simple as, like, are you a fan of the Grateful Dead? My answer is kind of always the same, like, casually. I don't dislike them. I've never really gotten too into them. There's times when maybe I'll go on a binge. Here in the last couple of years, I went on like a studio album binge. And then I've owned a handful of CDs back when CDs were a thing. Like One from the Vault was one I listened to a lot, 100 Year Haul. Just giving you a little background here. But for the most part on this channel, if I'm going to sit down and do a video, it's either just like I have absolutely nothing to talk about, or I'm going to sit down and talk about something I really like. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know, like, I've never really done a Grateful Dead show because I don't know. It's not like, again, it's not that I dislike them, but it's not anything I'm like super pumped up about. Like, I'm not just like, I don't have a ton of friends. So normally, like, if it's Game of Thrones or House of Dragons or Fish or things that I'm really into, like, I just at a certain point, man, I just want to blabber about it, and not a whole lot of people around me in my life care. So I turn to YouTube. And a Grateful Dead show is just not really that thing. I'll listen to it here and there, and then even in small doses, normally not a whole show. I think this is the first time I've ever listened to it. In fact, I think I'm almost sure it's the first time I've ever listened to an entire show that wasn't like officially released. So that's just kind of like a background where I stand. And there was some positives out of this. I would say that New Minglewood Blues is a song that maybe I like a little bit more. And even They Love Each Other, maybe two songs that I like a little more. Now, I was almost familiar, too. Like, I feel like I'm a casual fan, and I shouldn't know every single song they played. But I was somewhat familiar with every single song they played, other than the Queen Jane, approximately. It hit me that it was a Bob Dylan song. And it's just weird that Bob Weir sings it. Like, he really, part of the song, he really goes in on the Bob Dylan thing. And I know they had the whole Dylan in the Dead thing. See what I mean? Like, I know more information than I should, I guess. I guess just being in this fish world, and over time, you just learn little things, I mean, I was all about Fare Thee Well, Checked out a Dead and Company show or two. Even listened to J-Rad once or twice, unfortunately. So let's get to this show, I suppose. Enough with the background. Hell in a Bucket was how they started. And, I'm not going to make a ton of fish comparisons. Like, and other than set structure, there aren't a ton. But the set structure, it is there. Like, hey, let's start with, like, sort of an upbeat rocker. Do a little jamming in the first set, but kind of build anticipation into the second set. Song like maybe Althea, like, I don't know, but I feel like Althea might be like a Wolfman's brother for them. One that's just kind of going to be a home run. Nothing that goes too deep, but just kind of kicks ass every time, usually in the first set, I'm guessing. And then there was others like Dire Wolf is a song that I like. And then I do like Althea a lot too. That was actually a song I like, so it was cool to get a little jammed out one. And then Let It Grow probably stole the entire first set. Maybe my favorite song of the whole show was the Let It Grow. And the New Minglewood Blues maybe was the best moment of them as like a band, like not that it was not that the rest of it wasn't, not that it was just like not everything was drums in space, but you could see for people that like want to put them down and just be like, oh, they're just a bunch of, druggies that didn't even tune their instruments, they were just up there noodling around. And New Minglewood Blues is like a legit good song, I would say. Same thing with Terrapin Station. Another, that was in the middle of the second set. Hit a little bit of a lull in the second set. The one point I would say, I don't like emo Bob Weir, okay? I like, rock and roller Bob Weir, even Bob Dylan Bob Weir. But, It Looks Like Rain was maybe the biggest downer of the whole show. The Scarlet Fire. See, it's another thing. Like, I knew that. You could hear a little pop from the crowd once it was clear that it was Fire on the Mountain, which I thought should have been more clear. Just basically what I'm getting at. There was a lot of chompers there had it invaded the Dead shows by 1988, huh? Because you could hear it again later on with Watchtower, a song they recognized. They went a little crazy, and then they recognized it a bit late too. Brent really strong on a lot of stuff. I could see why people are like Grateful Dead Brent years kind of thing. I think it was maybe Let It Grow he was really strong on, and again, Sugar Magnolia toward the end of the show, and Drums in Space following up that. Actually, that followed Terrapin. Luckily, there was a strong Terrapin after the Looks Like Rain, and then the Drums in Space I've just never been into. Even in, like, I don't know, I've probably heard my first Grateful Dead show at some point, like most people in high school or whatever. Even then, just like sitting around with friends, smoking pot, playing video games. I didn't like Drums in Space as much as they all did. Fire on the Mountain was really awesome. That was maybe that. The Scarlet Begonias and Fire was maybe, along with Let It Grow, So, if you ignore the set break, you had three in a row there that just kind of were probably the big moments of the whole show. And then Watchtower, like I mentioned, Stella Blue. I think it was Stella Blue or Sugar Magnolia. I was like, this is probably Jerry's highlight of the night. And then you get the Muddy River Encore, more of a soulful. I do like the soulful Jerry stuff. I kind of like the upbeat rocker, like sort of Bob Weir songs, and then I do kind of like the Wharf Rat, sort of Muddy River Jerry songs. Not that they played Wharf Rat here, but it's another song. See what I mean? Like, I've always been like, I'm a casual fan. I don't really know much about the Dead. But it turns out it's kind of like Star Wars. I feel that way, too. Like, I don't really like Star Wars. I kind of know it. I watch them. I've seen all the movies. And then it turns out, like, I know all this crap about Star Wars. I don't know what it is about the Grateful Dead and Star Wars. They're just sort of there, if you're around our age. And several of you actually were at this show. That's cool. So I guess my takeaways were, I'm still where I've always been. Like, I like them, but I don't love them. Although New Minglewood Blues might be a song I might have to go and get on, add that to, like, most of the stuff that I would have saved on, say, like, Spotify. That's not a single live song. Oh, no, there is a drums and, I hate to say this, there's a drums in space with Brent, or a drums with Brent, that actually is saved. After everything I just said, I did save a drums with Brent on my, and maybe a Bertha. I'm a little bit of a chomper. I kind of like Bertha, too. I don't know why. It's not even that great of a song, really, is it, Or is it like a chalk dust? I don't know. All right, guys, boom, we're out of here. That's it. It was one and done on the Dead. Don't get excited if you're a Dead fan. I don't hate them. I certainly don't hate them. I'm not a Dead sucks, they're not real musicians guy. I mean, New Minglewood Blues and Terrapin Station, that's real musicians. Boom, we're out of here.